Ever wondered how your computer makes decisions? Today, we are diving into the world of conditional constructs in Java. These are the pivotal building blocks that allow your computer programs to make decisions based on certain conditions. They act like the brain of your program, deciding the path it should take. In the Java programming language, conditional constructs take various forms. The simplest one is if, which checks if a certain condition is true. Then we have if-else, which provides an alternative path if the if condition is not met. The if-else-if ladder construct allows us to check multiple conditions in a sequence. And then there's switch case, default, and break, constructs that offer even more flexibility and control over the flow of your program. Ready to become a decision-making master? Let's dive in. Imagine you're at a crossroads. To the left, there's a candy store. To the right, there's a bookstore. Your decision? That's what if is all about in Java. The if construct is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools in your Java coding arsenal. Picture it as being like a traffic cop guiding your code down the right path based on certain conditions. The syntax is straightforward: if followed by a condition in parentheses, and then the code block that gets executed if the condition is true. Let's consider a simple example. If your pockets are jingling with coins, you might head to the candy store. In Java, this would look like if pockets full of coins. Go to candy store. But what if you're not a fan of sweets and prefer a good book instead? Well, that's where things get a little more complex. But don't worry, we'll get to that in our next scene. Just like choosing between a candy store and a bookstore, if helps your program make a decision. But what if you don't like candy or books? That's where if-else comes in. Picture this: you're at a party. You're offered a piece of candy, but you're not in a candy mood. The host then offers you a book. But what if you're not in a reading mood either? You'd probably ask, what else do you have? In Java, if-else works in a similar way. It allows your program to offer an alternative when the initial condition doesn't meet your requirements. The syntax is straightforward. After the if statement, which tests your first condition, you add an else statement to propose an alternative. It's like saying, if I don't want candy or a book, then what else do you have? In coding terms, if you're checking whether a number is greater than 10, but it's not, the else part helps you command Java to do something else. Remember, if-else is like having a backup plan. It's always good to have one. Sometimes, life gives us more than two choices. That's when we need the if-else-if ladder. Imagine you're at a multi-cuisine buffet. You have a plethora of dishes to choose from, not just two. You can't just say, if not this, then that. You need more choices. In programming, this is where the if-else-if ladder comes into play. Here's how it works. You start with an if statement. If this condition is true, perform this action. If it's not, move to the next else if. Check if this condition is true. If so, perform this action. If not, move to the next else if, and so on. You can have as many else ifs as you need. At the end, you can have an else statement to catch all other conditions that weren't met by your if and else ifs. This construct allows your program to evaluate multiple conditions in an orderly manner. It's like being at the buffet and deciding what to pile on your plate based on a series of if-else-if decisions. With the if-else-if ladder, your program can make complex decisions with ease. Ever played a game of choose your own adventure? That's what switch case is like in Java. Imagine you're at a crossroads with multiple paths leading in different directions. In this scenario, the switch case construct is the signpost that guides your program down the right path based on the current situation or input. It's like a multi-way branch, directing your program's flow based on the value of an expression or a variable. The structure of a switch case construct is straightforward. We start with the keyword switch, followed by an expression in parentheses. This expression is what we're testing. Following this, we open a block with a curly brace. Within this block, we lay out our cases. Each case keyword is followed by a possible value of the expression and a colon. After the colon, we write the code that should be executed if the expression matches that case's value. Now you may ask, what happens after a case is matched and its code is executed? Does the program just keep going through the other cases? Well, this is where the break keyword swoops in to save the day. By adding break at the end of each case, we tell the program to exit the switch block once it's done executing the matched case's code. But what if none of the cases match the expression's value? Do we just let our program wander aimlessly? Of course not. We have the default keyword for this situation. By including a default case, we provide a path for the program to follow when none of the other cases match. It's like the all other destination sign on our crossroads metaphor. So, for example, let's say we have a switch case construct based on a variable representing a day of the week. Our cases could represent the days from Monday to Friday, each with its own code to execute. If the variable's value doesn't match any of these, the default case could handle the weekend days. Remember, the beauty of switch case lies in its simplicity and readability. It's a powerful tool that, when used right, can make your code cleaner and easier to understand. Switch case gives your program the power to choose its own adventure. In the game of Java, break and default are your secret weapons. Let's dive into the world of break and default constructs in Java. They may not be the lead actors, but they play crucial roles in controlling the flow of your program. Starting with the break construct. Think of it as your escape route from a loop or a switch case statement. It's like a door you can use to exit a party whenever you wish, without having to go through every single conversation. In Java parlance, when break is encountered within a loop or a switch statement, it halts the execution and transfers control out of the loop or switch. Consider a scenario where you're looping through a list of numbers and you want to stop as soon as you find the first negative number. You would use break to exit the loop once your condition is met. It's efficient, it's neat, and it saves you from unnecessary iterations. Now, let's move on to the default construct. This is your safety net in a switch case statement. Imagine you're a detective trying to match fingerprints. You have a set of suspects, but what if the fingerprint doesn't match any of them? That's when you turn to your default case. In a switch case statement, if none of the cases match the expression, the default case is executed. It's like an else statement in an if-else construct. Here's a quick example. You have a switch case statement based on the days of the week. But what if the input is not a day at all, but a random string? Without a default case, your program might just shrug and do nothing. But with a default case, you can control the outcome and handle this unexpected input gracefully. So, there you have it. The break and default constructs in Java. Two powerful tools that give you greater control over your code's behavior. Remember, break is your exit ticket and default is your safety net. So, we've journeyed through the world of conditional constructs in Java. Feeling like a decision-making pro yet? We began our adventure with the if construct, the most basic of conditional constructs, the one that stands at the threshold of decision-making. Remember how it's like a gatekeeper checking if a condition is true before letting the program proceed down a certain path? And then, we met its more sophisticated sibling, the if-else construct. It's like having a plan B in life. When if doesn't work out, else is there to catch us, providing an alternate route for our program. Next, we climbed the if-else-if ladder. Much like climbing an actual ladder, it's all about taking one step at a time. It checks multiple conditions in sequence until it finds one that's true, and then executes that block of code. We also explored the labyrinth of the switch case construct. Like navigating through a maze, it directs the program based on the value of a variable or an expression. It's a clean, efficient way to handle multiple conditions. Then we delved into the break and default constructs. Break is like the emergency exit, abruptly ending the loop or switch statement when called. Default, on the other hand, is the safety net, catching any case not covered by the existing switch cases. We also touched upon the fall-through condition in switch case, the menu-driven programs, and the system exit 0 command to terminate a program. It's a lot to take in, I know, but remember, practice makes perfect. So let's get coding. Experiment with these constructs, create programs, make some mistakes, and learn from them. There's no better teacher than hands-on experience. With these tools in your programming toolkit, you're ready to take on any decision-making challenge. Until next time, keep coding.